What can I say? Another big giant blunder, this time in Washington. Well, folks, welcome back to another live stream here on the Washington Football Maniacs YouTube channel. My name is Greg. Thank you for joining us with this post-game report. Brandon and I will record a proper video later this evening, but I wanted to come on the live a few minutes after the game to kind of do a preliminary instant reaction recap of what we saw in Washington, which was pathetic. But yeah, you had a very interesting game, right? It was a very interesting game. In our last video, and I said this in probably the last couple of videos that we did on here, but I said, if this team loses to a third string undrafted quarterback, then this team does not deserve to win the rest of the season. Honestly, they don't deserve the playoffs, which at this point we know good and well they're not going to the playoffs. But they just, I'm telling you, this team, what can I say? All right. Let me start with this. Let's just go ahead and we'll at least start with the stats here. Sam Howell was 31 for 45, 255 yards. He had one touchdown pass, 3 interceptions. He was sacked 4 times. Brian Robinson, he had 17 carries, 73 yards rushing. Chris Rodriguez had 6 carries, 43 yards rushing. Sam Howell himself, he had 3 carries, 35 yards rushing. So the running game was there. It was utilized pretty well. Pretty well there. And that was one of the positive things that I wanted to say was that, I preached that this team needed to get more well balanced. Eric Bieniemy needed to be more well-balanced in his play calling. And I felt that he was. But the problem is when you're turning the football over, then that is the greatest detriment to your team. You could do everything correctly. You can call a perfect game. You can, you're running the football with greatness. You're doing everything else, but when you're turning the football over, that just kills everything else. And that killed everything for this team today. Turning the football over 6 times today. 6 times. Fumbles. There's what? I believe there was 3. Was it 3 fumbles, 3 interceptions? Honestly, I'm speechless on that. I really am. You look on the defensive side of the football for Washington. They did exactly what I was preaching. Brandon and I was talking about. If the Giants are going to beat us, then make sure that you force Tommy DeVito to beat us. Take Saquon Barkley out of the game. Okay, well, Washington's defense kind of did that for the most part of the game. For most of the game, they did that. They took Barkley out of the game. They stuffed him on, at least in that first half. They did what they were supposed to do. They got to DeVito 9 times, 9 sacks on Tommy DeVito. Yet, there were big plays given up by the defense. Big plays. And then, when the Giants needed it the most, Saquon Barkley had some big runs there in the second half. And, it's kind of like, um, oh, well, my thoughts are just all over the place. But it's kind of like when I used to watch Barry Sanders and how Barry, I know what you guys are going to say. You're comparing Barkley to Sanders. Come on. But no, I mean, just how you would watch Sanders get stuffed like the entire game, lose several yards and all this stuff. And then all of a sudden he rips a huge run for a touchdown, like 60 some yard, run. And, Barkley was shut down for most of the game. And then all of a sudden he rips off this 36-yard run. And then he rips off another 30-plus run. He had 14 carries for 83 yards. His longest, again, was that 36-yard run. DeVito himself, 18 of 26, 246 yards passing, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. This is the big key, folks. This is the biggest thing, is the fact that the Giants didn't turn the ball over at all, and they forced six turnovers. Now, Sam forced, a couple of bad turnovers, and you're going to have that. Just like that, we shouldn't crown him, being a franchise guy probably after 1 or 2 games. Likewise, we shouldn't bury him after, a bad game like this. He had a bad game today. He really did. But he still had an opportunity to lead his team back. And so, I mean, it goes to show you that no matter how bad it is, Sam Howell does give you the best chance to win. That last interception, that last pick six, he tried to throw the ball away. He just didn't get enough under it. There was a duck of a pass, and it was picked off. He tried to throw the ball away. It was unfortunate, but, he was under pressure. He was going to get sacked. Either way, it would have ended the ball game. The false start by Charles Leno really hurt the Commanders. Pretty much ended that drive. Really put them in such a bind. Because the Commanders had to burn that last time out, changed the complexion of what they could do. So it was just unfortunate. But I mean, honestly, for the Commanders to get down like they did against a team like the Giants, it's inexcusable. It really is. We're going to talk about, sorry, I can't multitask, it seems like. Hold on just a second here. I'm pulling my own stream up. So I can see some of these chats in case that somebody starts chatting. So this is another one of those games in which that the Commanders can't seem to put, the peanut butter and jelly together. The defense was playing well. The offense was moving the ball okay, but they could not capitalize. They kept turning the ball over. They could not score touchdowns. They couldn't capitalize. The defense kept pressure on, the Giants' offense. And, I mean, honestly, everything was going in the favor of the Commanders, except the fact that there was these sparse big plays by the Giants that kept them in the lead. And pretty much the Giants led throughout the entire game. This was not a team that, this Giants team was a horrible team. All right, let's just say it like it is. For the Commanders, was they were favored by double digits to beat the Giants, and then they wound up losing by double digits. What does that tell you? Well, it tells you that this team is horrible. That's what it tells you. Um, but here's the thing, folks. I know all of us right now are talking about how that we're calling for Ron Rivera, Jack Del Rio, all those guys to be fired. Well, unless it's Ron Rivera making the call for someone like Del Rio to be fired, or anything like that, you're not going to see any of these guys fired this week. Why? Because the short week saves them. It really does. You can't fire these guys and expect whoever else to be ready to put this team in a chance to win on Thursday. That is just asking for too much. You might as well go ahead and put the L in the losing column there already. I mean, I think we've already put the L there probably for Thursday anyway, but you just cannot expect this to happen. Now, Ron Rivera did allude that there's going to be some personnel changes. Excuse me, where did that come from? Excuse me. I hate getting a coughing attack on these streams here. So bear with me. I'm choking just like our team did today. But that's the only thing that is saving Ron Rivera and company right now is the fact that they have to play on Thursday. So I'll be interested to see what changes that this team makes. Personnel changes. Is it just going to be player personnel changes? Will there be coaching changes before Thursday? Is it going to be, position changes? Well, coaching position changes. Ron Rivera specifically pointed out the defense. Defense has been giving up big plays. Excuse me, but at the same time, the defense didn't turn the ball over as many times. 6 times? So, the defense did play better. They did what they were supposed to do in the first half. They did everything that was asked of them, but still they give up the big plays. When it really matters, they give up the big plays. And I think that's one thing that we have harped about, not just with the defense, even with the offense sometimes as well. We don't see in-game adjustments, especially talking about the defense. There does not seem to be a lot of in-game adjustments. And no matter how good the game plan may be against a team, you still have to make certain adjustments. It may be working, but that team's going to make adjustments, so you have to continue to tweak here and there and make certain adjustments. You don't just continue to, this was working, we're going to continue to do this, not make any adjustments whatsoever, because eventually these other coaches are going to figure it out. And then that's what we have seen so many times, is we have seen teams that, and early on, yes, our team looks like they're going to blow the opponents out. And then come to find out that at halftime, it all seems to, what happened? We were playing so well, and then the other team makes adjustments. Well, it's because that we don't continue to make adjustments, even when things are working. This was one thing that made the Joe Gibbs coaching era so successful in his first tenure, was the fact that no matter what, even when things were working, they continued to make adjustments, especially halftime adjustments, because they wanted to keep the other team guessing. They wanted to keep the foot on the pedal. And that's one thing we haven't seen with Ron Rivera era. No adjustments at all, especially when things are not working. No adjustments with that until it's too late. So I tell you, folks, talking about this being, a sick to your stomach sort of loss. I mean, I think we are all, as Commanders fans, I think we are all very sick. There's no excuses. This is a team that the Commanders should have easily beaten, like easily, and we didn't. But I mean, what can you say? Was that Ferdinand Devine? I'm so sick of the same thing every week. Yes. I'm with you. All of us are sick. All of us are so sick at what we are seeing. But you know what? At least if we look at the silver lining in every gray cloud right now, this is the last time that we will see Ron Rivera coaching against the Giants as a Washington Commander head coach. We know that he knows it too. You could hear it in his voice in the press conference. He knows it's over. There's just nothing to say. He didn't have his team ready. He said he did. No. His team was not ready. I mean, it's just all it is to it. I will say it's hard to overcome turnovers, and you start to question, well, whose fault is it with turnovers? I mean, the player, yeah, definitely you blame the player. But, you could probably also point your finger at coaches as well. Good coaching will help to clean up some of that. And, players just tend to play a little sloppy. The Giants did a good job of forcing turnovers, and sometimes it just happens. That knockout, the ball getting knocked out of, punched out of Logan Thomas's hands there in the first half. That could have happened to anybody, I guess, but still, you can't have that. Or at least you got to be able to know that your team is ready to pounce on the football if you're seeing football in the field. And our team did a horrible job of at least trying to overcome some of those turnovers, And so, folks, I just, I don't know what to tell you. It's frustrating because it seems like for the first time, offensively, defensively, the Commanders did exactly what, Brandon and my keys to the game. We talked about we need to run the football. We need to put pressure on DeVito. And we need to call some turnovers. That was the one thing we didn't do. We turned the football over. We didn't cause turnovers. But, I mean, we ran the football really well. And that's something we need to keep, we need to keep up with. But this also goes to show you that the offensive line is terrible, is just horrible. We need to draft a left tackle. We need to draft a right tackle. I mean, honestly, we need a complete just overhaul of the offensive line. We need a brand new offensive line. that's something that should have happened before we even looked at skill positions. Honestly, you build from the inside out, and this team needs a better offensive line. I really hope that they get Sam Howell some help up front, some protection next year. And I'm sure they will. The next regime will come in, and that's the first thing they're going to look at is we got to protect our quarterback, and we got to be able to open some running lanes for our running backs because we got the guys in the skill positions. So there you go. I'm trying to think. You got Sam Howell being very tough on that run, that quarterback run into the end zone. I tell you, I'm kind of surprised that there wasn't a personal foul called with the Giants kind of tossing Howell to the ground like that. But the personal fouls didn't really come in until the fight broke out. But if it was anybody else, they probably would have quickly ejected. If it was us, right? Silver lining, I thought that Emmanuel Forbes played pretty well. He had some good pass breakups. He did decently. I would have liked to have seen some more targets to Terry McLaurin and Jahan Dotson. It did seem like that Eric Bieniemy was really focusing more on Logan Thomas as far as his game plan, which was fine. But I think when it comes down to it, your main playmakers are guys like Terry McLaurin. Getting Brian Robinson involved again, I love that. I was very happy to see that. But it seems like whenever the Commanders were getting into the red zone, just I don't know, they just fell apart. So that was unfortunate. Tell you, defensively, KJ Henry, I think we have found a good defensive end in him. I want to keep seeing more from him. Casey Toohill came in, made a good play as well. So horrible to see F.A. Obata get his leg broken. That's really going to hurt as far as our depth. Next man up, right? I mean, we're going to really have to have some more reps from guys like Henry, Toohill, because, James Smith-Williams is already out. So we're starting to get thin there at the defensive end area as well. Indian Lake, Ohio. It was a very strange game. A very strange game indeed. I mean, we turned the ball over 6 times, but we get, 9 sacks. It's just, and yet the Giants lead throughout the entire game. So weird. He also says we needed an offensive line. Yeah. Tight ends, linebackers, quarterbacks. Corners. Yes. We definitely could pick up another great corner. I'll give Forbes a little bit more credit. I mean, let's give him a little more time to develop. Tight ends. John Bates has not had a bad year this year. He's factored into the passing game a lot more than I figured he was going to. I've been disappointed that Cole Turner hasn't gotten more playing time. The talk is that he's been so horrible with blocking, but that's the reason why. He did get into the game today and made a catch. So, I don't know. Logan Thomas, I think, has had a good year. So, I mean, we're not terrible at tight end. But definitely agree. Offensive line, yes, very much so. Um, so, folks, on to Thursday. On to Thursday night. Um, Thanksgiving against the Dallas Cowboys in Dallas. Dallas, of course, playing very well. They had an easy game with the Panthers today. Probably going to have an easy game with us as well. It's one of those games where I'm like, I'm just glad that, if I'm still at my mom's house, that maybe I can at least just enjoy a second helping of pumpkin pie and turkey. If the game is on and it's going the way that I think it's probably going to go. So, yeah, folks, I guess, just the question's going to be, when is Ron Rivera going to, when is he going to get fired? I can already tell you the answer is going to be, it's not going to be tonight. There's no way that Josh Harris is going to put his team in the bond on a short week. Now, after Thanksgiving game, after that game, that Thursday night, then we could be talking about a coaching change. And I think a lot of us wouldn't mind seeing that. I mean, we would love to see something positive. So who knows? Who knows? So, folks, Brandon and I will be, hopefully, he was at the game. Depending on what time he gets back and how he's feeling, we will try to record. If not, then, of course, hopefully you guys have enjoyed this stream, and, you folks will go back and watch the recording of the stream as well. We will definitely follow up with this. Sorry, I get more nasally. I'm still, got little remnants of this sickness I've had for, 2 months. It is what it is. Probably sick from watching this game as well. But folks, thank you for sticking with me. Thank you for honestly tuning in to the Washington Football Maniacs. We're going to be giving you so much great content. We've got channel memberships as well. We're going to start to do some giveaways for members. Some members only content will be coming soon, so check that out. It's $2.99, so please consider that. If at least subscribe to us. We put out a good amount of content for you, and we would love to have you on a permanent basis. And that being said, folks, I'm going to take a little break here. We will come back and do a recording later this evening, and we'll try to have that out either by this evening or maybe first thing tomorrow morning, because I don't think I'm going to feel like recording first thing tomorrow morning. Or I should say doing a live stream tomorrow morning. I may do a recording. But that being said, folks, yeah, so horrible game, but if anything, blame it on those black uniforms. I tell you, black uniforms, those things, I think we need to burn them. We really do. We need to burn those things. I'm sorry, folks. We don't win in those uniforms. I think they're a bad omen. I know some people love them. I don't love them at all. I just want to get rid of them. They're not good for us. Let's just go with back to the burgundy and gold and roll with that, folks. Well, of course, I would love to go back to that and roll with that, but that's another topic for another day. Anyway, oh wow, Indian Lake, Ohio. Thank you so much. Thank you for that super chat. Yeah, those are the funeral uniforms. Oh man, yes, because we it seems like that we were in a funeral today. We were we were just in a funeral, right? I mean, I'm sitting there, and already I'll tell you this, folks. Um, I woke up this morning sick as a dog, just throwing up stuff, and no, it wasn't a hangover. It was just, I don't know. I was just not feeling good. Excuse me. And just watching this game, I'm just sitting there going, this just feels like something that's just going to be so depressing. I just know it. And yeah, I it's the uniforms. They're making me depressed. They're making me so depressed. Got to be hard to do a show like this. Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, it is. It's tough. Um, but I kind of want to go ahead and do it. And I would try to collect my thoughts, and if Brandon is free later on, Brandon Scott, he's my co-host. You probably have also seen him if you follow the Wizards. He does Locked On Wizards with the real Ed Oliver. Those guys do a great job. Of course, you guys probably also watch the real Ed Oliver, cover his Washington Commanders stuff as well. Great dude. We've had him on the show. I love collaborating with other Washington Commanders YouTube content creators. These guys are, we're all the brotherhood. We don't compete. We're just all brothers. Just all wanting to talk about our favorite team. So guys, I think I am going to end the stream now. We've been on for about 30 minutes. I'm going to get a bite to eat, collect my thoughts, and folks, just chin up. We do have game Thursday. We'll see what happens. And with that said, folks, if you enjoy this channel, please consider subscribing. When you do, hit that notification bell so you won't miss another video release here on the Washington Football Maniacs. We will come back with some more videos here. Try my best to release a video at least once a day during the week. The weekend is a little bit more. I like to, I like to have at least one day to myself. But that being said, folks, love you guys. We will see you back. And, regardless, hell to the Washington Commanders. All right, Josh Harris, do your thing, buddy. We'll see you back. Take care, everybody.